Airtime World Soldier here, and I'm back to talk about Star Trek Lower Decks Season 2, Episode 3, and my thoughts on this episode. I mean, this show is literally a waste of fucking time to deal with. It really is. That the basis for this entire show is basically remind us of something that's happened in better Star Trek, take the piss out of it, or just bring it up because you have literally nothing else to offer. This is fucking boring. Especially when you kind of saw something they could have done with this episode if they had concentrated on one character. But again, they concentrate on too many fucking characters, on too many stories. The fucking Boimler shit, that could have just... that joke, and it was a fucking joke through the whole episode, could have been done in one fucking scene. You didn't have to have it continue to go. The Rutherford crap, yeah, again, it's just a piss take out of something that happens in Star Trek with characters returning. That's about it. The two people that should have been focused on this entire episode was Tendi and Mariner. Now, if they had concentrated on this episode on them, and it was actually an episode about Tendi going back to her home world, back to the Orions, and seeing there how they lived their lives and seeing a difference in the sexes, because on the Orion planet the women are dominant and the male are subservient, that would have been an interesting episode. And you could have put politics in at that stage, but doing what Star Trek does best, which is take a social issue, turn it into a Star Trek issue, and then turn it into something better. Again, saying the plight of men and women on Earth today, but switch it around to the plight of men on Orion. That would have been interesting. But they didn't do that in this episode. It was a waste of fucking time. And the jokes. There was a joke in this about pirates. As soon as Tendi said act like a pirate, you knew what Mariner's joke was going to be, and it was just like, oh my god. And what the fuck is it always with this show, and it needs to mention sex. In every fucking episode, it's sex this, sex that. My god, are you all fucking 5-year-olds? People have sex, yes. Only a fucking 12-year-old is going to go fucking nuts over that. And again, I don't think this show is catering to that fucking market. As I've said before, they keep trying to do the Rick and Morty audience. They want to bring that audience over, and it's just not going to fucking work. God, this show is a waste of fucking time. How the hell do they get away with this? Like, who the fuck is reading these scripts and saying, this is hilarious, let's actually make it? But it's every fucking episode. Like, do the writers have sex? I have to ask that. Because the only people who talk about sex as much as these people are the ones who don't have it. The ones who can't have it. Please, either fucking get a girlfriend or pay for a bloody escort, because you are fucking childish at this point. But yeah, this was just a dumb episode. There's nothing in this episode that I can point to that I liked. There was a story they could have done that would have been interesting, but they didn't, as I said. And the constant reminding us of better Star Trek, and just reminding us that I could just turn this off and watch Voyager or watch Deep Space Nine. You know, it doesn't help your show to remind us there's better shit out there, Lower Decks. It's just a constant load of shit jokes and fucking annoying characters. God. Well, I'm going to go into spoilers now, so if you don't want to hear spoilers, leave in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so this episode starts off with Tendi finding out she didn't get a promotion, and she's now having to do a favour for the head doctor, the Catwoman, to go get a fucking sex object from the doctor's private bank or something. And basically what this is stealing from is the Vulcan's Pon farr. And I don't get why you'd need to copy that. Why can't you just say... it's just annoying, okay? Why are you copying so much of Star Trek? Why not make your own shit? It's annoying. So the cat basically has a Pon farr, and the cat needs somebody to go collect a fucking idol. Remember, apparently we're supposed to... This is the most important thing of this episode is that stupid idol. Remember that at the end, because apparently it's not as important as you'd think. At the same time, Rutherford sees the Bajoran security officer who sacrificed himself in last season. He's apparently come back, and this is basically a joke about some Starfleet people dying in episodes and just taking a piss out of it. Which, again, it's not funny, and just reminds me I could actually watch a better Star Trek. I'm not going to go on about Rutherford. Basically, all Rutherford does in this episode is try to ask the Bajoran guy how he died. He finally manages to get through to him and asks him, and then it turns out we'd never really find out how he got back, because apparently it's a dark secret you don't tell any Starfleet officer because it's going to screw him up. And that's the fucking joke. I'm going to get through Boimler's shit. Basically, Boimler's come back to the ship. The ship doesn't recognise him, even though it makes no fucking sense. You know, it doesn't. Okay, how the ship doesn't recognise him? He has a Starfleet badge on. The ship would also not need to recognise him for every goddamn thing. Like the replicator, unless he's going to ask for a weapon or a knife or something, it would actually give him what he asks for. Food, drink, what the hell ever. This Boimler's entire thing was just, let's just take the piss out of Boimler again. So Boimler's back on form, ladies and gentlemen. He's just the whipping boy of this fucking show. And he's all excited because Tom Paris has come to the ship again. Just bringing up the fact there's better Star Trek. That's all this show does. It just brings up better shit. Because it can't do anything on its own. So the whole Boimler thing goes crazy. He can't do anything, can't get through doors. He decides to go around the ship in a Jeffries tubes because that's a smart thing to do. Then he fucks up, gets trapped somewhere. He's carrying a fucking Voyager plate with him that's got Tom Paris on it. End of the story is he falls in on the bridge. Tom Paris pretty much kicks the shit out of him, and Boimler's happy because that's pretty much a boner for him. I don't know why. There you go. And that's all Boimler did this episode. So let me just get on to the real leads of this fucking episode. Mariner and Tendi. So Tendi goes down to the planet, collects the box with the sex idol in it. Mariner and Tendi pretty much go through this episode realising they're not really friends so much as colleagues, because again this episode is pretty much proving that they have not used Tendi enough, and Mariner has been too close to Boimler through the entire last season, and all Tendi has been in this show is an extra. I'm at least happy they're bringing Tendi forward and trying to give her her own arc, her own story. Was it a good story? Fuck no. So whilst they're walking back to the shuttle, I think Mariner damages the idol, and again, the whole idol thing becomes a literal bullshit point, because it turns out the idol is not the most important thing. It turns out it's the box that the Catwoman needs. So this whole episode was a waste of time, basically. God damn it. Anyway, Mariner breaks the idol. They have to get it fixed, but they need money to fix the idol. So they go to this gambling planet to pretty much get money to fix the idol. They run into a bunch of Norskins, and the Norskins just being arseholes as they usually are, and have a fight. But this fight turns bad, and they can't then get the idol fixed on that planet. They then run to what's that planet called? Well, it's a pirate planet by the Orions, because Tendi is always ashamed of her heritage and being an Orion, because they're a bunch of pirates and sex gods or something, and she doesn't like it. So the plan is to sneak into the planet. Mariner has to go green face because they don't like non-Orion people on this pirate planet. So they go down there. Tendi again makes it like act like a pirate, and Mariner does the stupid joke, because I knew she was going to do this, like go "arr" because she's a fucking 5-year-old. For God's sake. So yeah. Tendi's on his planet to find her cousin, who's a labourer there. She tells him to fix the idol because, again, in the Orion's culture, the women are dominant because of the pheromones that they bring off. And then when Mariner brings up that fact about the pheromones, Tendi gets insulted by it, basically calling her a racist. But I don't get it. Like, you want this idol to be fixed. You're an Orion. He's a male Orion. You're basically his boss. And, again, they could tell Tendi's story on her own, with Mariner there as well, if they had just taken Tendi back to Orion and just shown what it's like for an Orion on that planet. Showing the female side of it and the male side of it, and doing a political episode if you want that. They could actually do a good episode out of that, showing what it's like, when one sex is better than the other sex, or more important than the other sex. But they didn't do that in this episode. They just made stupid jokes and fucking boring ass lines. That was all they did in this episode. So the green covering that Mariner has starts fading. Then she completely turns back into, green to black. And the Orions get pissed off because she's not an Orion, so they want to kill her. And Tendi saves her and they run off and get back to the ship. But by the time they get back to their shuttle, they break more of the idol. They get back to the shuttle and then fly back to the Cerritos. When they get back to Cerritos, Mariner has the bright idea to smash the shuttle into the ship to make it look like it was an accident and they broke the idol. Don't know why you can't just explain to the Doctor that they just had an accident and that's why the idol's been broken. The cat doesn't seem like that much of a twat, so I think she would have forgiven them, but it didn't matter altogether because all she needed was the box because she's a fucking cat, and that's the fucking joke. And then at the end, Tendi and Mariner have become friends. Not work colleagues, friends. And that's the end of the episode. Yeah, boring, ridiculous. This show cannot make anything decent. It just has to keep reminding you that it's not Star Trek and that there is better Star Trek out there. That's all this has done. And I'm also getting kind of sick and tired of the uniform thing. I mentioned that in my last season's reviews. Like, why is the Cerritos crew wearing a different uniform than the rest of Starfleet? They're not a special ship. They're not an elite ship. They're a normal ship. Why are they not wearing the same uniforms? Now, if you said to me, or at least the writers explained to us, that this ship is a special ship, that would make sense of the different uniforms. But they don't explain that. They just leave it out there for no fucking reason. And it just seems like this show just doesn't know what it's doing. But yeah. But that's my review. Terrible episode. This series is only surviving because the idiots at the top are a bunch of woke dickheads. And there's just no excitement for this show. I think every episode I watch of this just makes me ask, why am I bothering? This is a shit show. But there you go. If you like this video, give it a like. If you dislike this video, give it a dislike. And if you like my content, do think about subscribing. Hail the Phantom Menace, long live CG, and fuck SJWs. Bye.